Hello 10th class students. Today in science we will learn about the extraction of the metals. In previous video students, we have studied about the extraction of the metals which are present in middle of the activity series, and the main metals were there zinc, iron and lead. These metals are present in between the activity series. That means they are not too highly reactive and too low reactive. They have moderate reactivity with the other elements, and that is why depending upon their reactivity, the method of the extraction is different from the other metals. Now students, in this video we will study the methods of the extraction of the metals which are present in the top of the activity series. So, which are the main metals which are present in the top of the activity series? That metals are mainly potassium, sodium, calcium and aluminium. These are metals which are highly reactive, which can easily react with the other metals or non-metals, and they easily form the compounds. So, instead of reducing them with the carbon, as we have seen in the case of zinc, iron and lead, they are extracted by reducing them with the carbon by the reduction process. But these metals cannot be extracted by the method used for extracting of the zinc, iron and lead. The reason behind this, students, that these metals have more affinity with the oxygen as compared to the carbon. So, instead of reacting with carbon, they combine with oxygen and form their oxides. So, in order to extract these metals from their ore, we applied some special type of the methods, that is electrolysis method. In the electrolysis method, with the help of electricity, we purify these methods. Let's understand what are these methods. Let's understand the electrolytic reduction methods used for purification of the metals that are present at the top of the activity series, and main metals are potassium, sodium, calcium and aluminium. This method of electrolytic reduction is mainly used for extraction of these metals. In this method, students, their chloride ore in the form of the molten form, electricity is passed through the molten form of the chloride ore of these metals. Then the two electrodes are inserted in the molten form of the ore. One is cathode and another is anode. So, if we see, then at cathode, the pure metal, we take the example of NaCl, that is sodium chloride. Then sodium metal get deposited at cathode, and cathode is negative electrode of the electricity, and anode is positively charged electrode. So, let's see the reaction which takes place at cathode. At cathode, the sodium ion, that is Na plus, by accepting one electron get converted into sodium, and at anode, the chlorine 2 minus ion, by losing it loses 2 electrons and get converted into Cl or Cl2 plus 2 electron minus. These are the reactions that takes place at cathode and anode in order to get purification of the metals. Now, if this metal is get extracted, then different methods are used in order to purify this metal. Somehow, up to some extent, the metal extracted by electrolytic reduction also contains some impurities, and in order to remove that impurities, some other special methods are applied in order to purify the metals. Let's understand the refining of the metals. In the process of refining, students, a setup is done. Let's draw the diagram of that setup. The metal which we have to refine is placed in the form of a thick rod and a thin strip of the same metal is placed in the form of the other electrode. Now, this thick rod is made anode and this thin rod is made cathode. The cathode is negatively charged and anode is positively charged, and the solution or electrolytic solution that we fill is the solution of that metal which we want to purify. For example, here if we want to separate or purify the copper metal, then we will fill here copper sulfate solution. Now students, whenever we pass the electricity in these electrodes, then the copper ion that are dissolved in the copper sulfate solution, that are Cu2 plus, will move towards the cathode, because cathode is negatively charged and ions are positively charged. So they will move towards the cathode and get deposited on the thin rod of the copper, and at the same time the copper present in anode in the form of impurities will starting dissolve in copper sulfate in the same amount. The amount of the copper deposited at cathode and amount of the copper dissolving in copper sulfate at anode will be equal to each other. Now, the impurities that are present in anode will get deposited in the bottom of the container here, and slowly the anode will get thinner and the cathode, which was thin, will get thicker, and a time will come when the whole anode will get dissolved in copper sulfate and the amount of the copper equal to dissolved copper will be get deposited on the cathode in the form of pure copper, because impurities which are not good conductor of the electricity will get deposited in the bottom of the container. So this is the method used for refining the metals in the form of electrolytic refining. Second is, students, corrosion. Next topic or important topic is corrosion. Corrosion actually we have seen in our day-to-day life in many different forms. You have seen that whenever the silver ornaments we bought from the market are very shining, but whenever they are exposed to the air, they become slightly blackish in color. The reason behind it is that, students, the silver react with the sulfur present in minute amount in the air and make silver sulfide. Whenever we bring the aluminium utensils, they are very shining, but after some times their upper surface somehow get diminished color in nature. It get dull. The reason behind is that the aluminium reacts with the oxygen present in the air and form the aluminum oxide. And the most general example of the corrosion is iron, rusting of the iron. Whenever we place the iron in open, the upper surface of the iron get rusted. We call it corrosion, and in day-to-day life we call it rust of the iron. What is the reason behind rusting? That iron reacts with the water molecules present in air and oxygen present in air and form the rust. So students, let's understand it with the help of an example, that what are the necessary conditions in order to rust the iron. In order to understand the rusting of the iron, we perform an experiment. Let's see the diagram of the experiment. Students, this is the setup for the experiment to show the necessary conditions for rusting of iron. In this setup, students, we have taken 3 test tubes that are in which 2 are filled with water and 1 is empty, and anhydrous calcium chloride is put in the bottom of the 3rd test tube, that is test tube C. We label them A, B and C. Now students, in the first case, an iron nail is placed in water, but the nail is covered only half with the help of the water and half remains exposed in air. Here it is air in the test tube. All 3 test tubes are closed with the help of the core, so no external climatic factor can affect them. In the second case, students, boiled water is taken. The reason behind taking the boiling water is that by boiling we remove all the air present in water. Any gases that is dissolved in water will get removed from it, and the nail is completely submerged in water. No part of the nail is coming outside the water, and a drop of the oil is put at the surface of the oil in order to prevent the entry of the air from the surface. And in third case, we have taken no water, but instead of taking water, we have put here anhydrous calcium chloride powder. The reason behind taking the anhydrous calcium chloride is that it absorbs the moisture present in the air which is present inside the test tube. Now, if you put this setup for some time, for 1 or 2 days, then we see that the nail present in test tube A get corroded, that means it get rusted. The nail present in B and C test tube does not corrode. Then scientists conclude that the reason behind this is, in the first case, the nail gets sufficient amount of the water but does not get contacted with the air. In the second case, the test tube in which we have put anhydrous calcium chloride, which absorbed all the moisture present in air inside the test tube. So, in this case, the nail get in contact with the oxygen and air, but does not get water or water vapor in order to react. But in the very first case, students, here the normal water was taken and there was presence of air inside the water also. So, the first nail sufficiently get the amount of the water as well as the amount of the air in order to react. So, we can easily conclude that in order to rust or corrosion, the water and air both are essential. So, the condition for rusting of the iron is that there should be presence of air and water. Students, our next topic is expressing the purity of gold. Sometimes whenever you went to the goldsmith shop, then you have heard about telling the goldsmith that which quality of gold we want, either of 24 karat gold, 23 karat, 22 karat gold. So what is the meaning of this carat, student? Carat is actually the unit of the expressing the purity of the gold. Generally, the pure gold which have no contamination in it is of 24 karat. So 24 karat gold is considered to be the purest form of the gold. But students, as you know that pure gold is very soft in nature, so it is not fit for making ornamentals or jewelry, because the carving of the design will get disturbed by the softness of the gold. So in order to make it suitable for making the jewelry, goldsmith add some impurities in it, so make it hard a little. So 22 karat gold is considered to be suitable for making the jewelries and ornaments. What is the meaning of 22 karat gold? That in 22 parts, 2 parts of the other metal, it may be silver or copper, may be added in it. 22 part pure gold plus 2 part of the other metals like the silver and copper are added in the gold in order to make it hard, so that easily suitable for making the jewelries. And 24 karat gold is pure gold. If we talk about the 23 karat, that means students, in 23 part of the gold, 1 part of the other metals are added and making the alloy of them. Now, what is the meaning of alloy? Alloys are actually, students, the combination of 2 or more than 2 metals which have different properties than their constituent metals. If we talk about the metals like iron, tin, copper, zinc, etc., then by the combination of these metals we can make some different alloys which have properties different than this. For example, stainless steel. Stainless steel, the main constituent of stainless steel is iron. Iron easily get rusted, but whenever some other metals like zinc, carbon, non-metal, etc., are mixed with the iron, then it convert in the form of stainless steel, which does not corrode easily, does not rust easily. That is the property of the metals, alloys, which are entirely different from their constituent metals. Next, students, how we can prevent the corrosion? Corrosion actually harmful for us because it degrades the quality of the metals. So there are some methods by which we can prevent the corrosion. Let's see what are the different methods of prevention of the corrosion. So next topic is prevention of corrosion. The basic primary method used in order to prevent the corrosion is, students, painting. If we paint the surface of the metals, then that paint will cut the contact of the surface with the environment or with the water and air, so they does not get easily corrode. Second, by applying oil or grease. If you apply the oil or grease on the surface of the metal, then it will also break the contact of the surface to its surrounding and consequently stop the corrosion. Third is somehow advanced method in order to prevent the corrosion is galvanization. Galvanization is actually a method in which the surface of the metal is coated with the help of the other metal which is more reactive than that metal. If we cover the surface of the iron with the help of zinc which is more reactive than the iron, then zinc will come in contact with the moisture and air and it will get reduced, it will get corrode, and in turn it will save the corrosion of the iron. So students, these are the basic some methods which used in order to prevent the corrosions. Students, if we talk about the corrosion or if we learn about the corrosion, then it is very important to mention about the iron pillar present in Delhi near the Qutub Minar. Near the Qutub Minar, students, an iron pillar established near about 1600 years ago. The pillar is made up of iron, but it is wonder for the scientists that it doesn't corrode in the open air. The reason behind it that the ancient metallurgical persons who made them have such knowledge that they develop a fine quality of the iron that does not even corrode in the open air. So students, this is all about the corrosion of the metals.